Hey guys, just a short one today, but I just got back from Barnes & Noble for a trip to get a new book that I've been excited about basically since I knew it was a thing. So I thought I'd talk to you guys about a new favorite author of mine, especially if you like sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, apocalyptic type stuff. So the book that I got is Mira Grant's Chimera. It is the last in a trilogy, which I've been waiting for since I first found the rest of the series, which was only about 3 weeks, so didn't have to wait too long. But she's one of my favorite authors that I found. So long story short, a couple of months ago, I was wandering Barnes & Noble looking for books again, and stumbled across a box set of these. This is her Newsflash trilogy. It's her first one. So Feed, Deadline, Blackout in order are the order the books go in. It's zombie apocalypse, of course, but it's like you've never seen it before. This is not about the actual first apocalypse, the first breakout, yada yada. It is about, I think 20-some years later. It's a solid, like, generational chunk later. And it's all about sort of what happens afterwards. So it's got some really great world building and how the infrastructure changes. What does the world look like when you're sort of in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? So it's still happening. Life is getting back to a new kind of normal. What does that look like? They're also some of the smartest books I've read in a very long time. It's of course pseudoscience because as of yet, zombies aren't a thing. So she's kind of, working off tangents, but basically the backstory here is that the zombie apocalypse came from a cure for cancer and a cure for the common cold, which were, I forget, it was viruses or but basically some type of like infection. Each one had an infection that brought with it the cure, and they were released at the same time approximately, and it was when they merged together that this, they call it the Callis-Amberley virus is what they call it in the book. It's not technically zombies, but it's zombies. So the story follows two brother and sister pair who are journalists, because the entire point here is that basically after the apocalypse, blogging and bloggers are the new people you actually rely on for your news, because while it was happening, they were the ones getting information, getting it out there, while of course the rest of the news outlets were all, oh god, the government said we can't say anything, so we're just gonna, so it was the bloggers. So the books follow these pair of these pair of bloggers through their adventures, and it's very interesting. I'm not going to spoil it. They're good reads. They're smart reads. These are books that took a long time for me to finish, and I am a very quick reader. So that's not always a good thing when I can get through something quickly. I want a book that's going to take me longer than 3 hours to get through. These guys took me a while. So the author is Mira Grant. It is the pseudonym for a woman named Shannon, which I probably pronounced that wrong, McGuire. She does some fantasy type stuff I haven't read yet, but it's on my list because I've been plowing through her sci-fi stuff. So this was the first series, Blackout. Blackout is the last book. The first series is called The Newsflash. They're also good because they're not romance books. The first two have no romance in them at all. The third one sort of does technically, in that a relationship is mentioned and kind of one attempts to happen, but it's not a main focus of the story. You can basically read them entirely just as like, this is a fucking zombie apocalypse novel, and it's amazing. It is so good. It is everything you want. There's people poking zombies with a stick for fun. They call them Irwins in the book. So good. And then, so definitely read these. Definitely, they're all out. You can buy all of them right now, in softcover too. So if you don't want to spend the money, they're all in softcover. Barnes & Noble, last I checked, the one I went to had a 3-set. Normally they're $10 each, which for a paperback book this size these days is really good. Most of them these days are going at least $15, which is stupid and I hate it. But the box set, I know, was a little bit cheaper. I think it was only like $25. It's got to be cheaper on Amazon. Support her. She's a fantastic writer. The third book, or second series, which I just got the third book. I don't remember what the series title is. Like the other one was Newsflash, but it was the 3. I don't remember what the series title for this guy is. Parasitology, however you pronounce that. First book is Parasite. Still, it's an apocalypse type thing. This one actually happens during the middle of the apocalypse. This one is about genetically modified tapeworms, which have become basically a medical device, because the theory is it's like 20 years from now or so, and people have become so dependent on various things, and because of, it's kind of like taking the plastic bubble theory a little bit further. So the idea is that like people went so far into the plastic bubble that their kids didn't build up immunities to anything, so they have to basically, they've made this medical device that is a tapeworm that you ingest and lives in your gut, that releases whatever kind of medications and things that you need in order to live what we would call a normal life. So whether it's allergy meds or like stimulants or whatever, these tapeworms are like, and the point is they're tailored to your DNA, so it's like specific for you. And the idea here is that it's sort of what happens when the tapeworms get loose and they start taking over humans. I don't want to liken it to Stephanie Meyer, but it's sort of, if you read The Host, which is her standalone book, which actually wasn't awful, as a former unfortunate middle school Twilight fan who now deeply regrets that phase of my life, The Host isn't terrible. The Host still has a love triangle, which gets kind of gross, and it gets a little bit weird. Actually, technically it's a love square? Rectangle, I guess? It's been a while since I read it. The Host wasn't bad. This is a smarter, more interesting, fantastic version of The Host. 3 books. There is a romance in it in as much as the main character has a boyfriend and has had this boyfriend through all of the books, but it's not like pining. I'm going to talk about him all the time. It's literally just like this boyfriend she has, and he's important because he's a scientist, and like, but they're both strong people together, and the boyfriend's kind of a nerd, he's sort of weak, so it's not like, oh my god, I love you because you're hot and muscly. It's like, no, I don't know. They're so good. Same thing as the first one. It's all like quote-unquote pseudoscience, because it's not real yet, but they're really smart books. Take a while to get through. This first one here, paperback, is 502 pages for one. The second one, Symbiont, was 5 or 6. And Chimera, it looks like, is going to be 485, 86. But again, slightly bigger, I guess, the hardback to the paperback. I'm a little upset that I had to get it in hardback because I like having my books match, but alas, I couldn't wait until this one comes out in paperback by a long shot. So yeah. If you're looking for a great read, if you want something that's going to take you time, if you want something that is going to engross you for, depending on your reading speed, weeks to months, pick up Mira Grant. Her work is just, it's fantastic. It's the zombie apocalypse and the apocalypse novels that you never knew you wanted. Good mix of action, good mix of like really deep ethical stuff. Oh, they're so good. Granted, I'm a huge bookworm, so me going off about books happens all the time, but these guys are fantastic. So yeah, that is my book review or author review, I suppose, for now. I love reading, so you might end up seeing a lot of book stuff on this channel. Video games are great, but books are what got me into stories first, and books are generally a little bit cheaper. So yeah, again, let me know if you guys want to see this. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you've read any of her stuff before. Let me know if you pick them up. Bye!